Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, my name is Brandon, aka Rags to Riches, and as always, ladies and gentlemen, I have no earthly idea why you are here. Maybe it's because you want to get the scoop on what's going on here. So right now we are waiting for the Department of Justice to go live, and if you've been living under a rock, you don't know what's going on right now. Binance, which is the world's biggest cryptocurrency exchange, they offer a whole lot more services than that. It's purported and reported that these folks got nailed to the tune of $4.3 billion, I believe. And CZ, who is somebody who, quite honestly, he is stuck up for crypto in a lot of ways. He screwed crypto in a lot of ways. But overall, I think this could be a good thing. CZ apparently will be stepping down from his post for at least 3 years. So he can have nothing to do with Binance for 3 years as part of this agreement. Now, all of this is kind of being reported right now. We don't know for sure what the details are. But at 3 o'clock, and it's 3:10 right now, the government, the DOJ, is slated to go live to talk about major enforcement actions on the cryptocurrency industry. Now, what's also interesting about this, I want to point this out. If you guys remember, I think it was back in maybe July, the SEC brought 8 different charges to Binance, and I wasn't aware of the charges that were brought by the Department of Justice. However, here they are. Violation of anti-money laundering regulations. Binance was charged with failing to maintain a proper anti-money laundering program. This violation led to the company agreeing to pay $4.3 billion to settle the allegations. Additionally, Binance's founder and CEO, CZ Zhao, pleaded guilty to his own charges related to these violations. This is just being reported. Operating an unlicensed money transmitting business. The DOJ accused Binance of operating a business that transmitted money without the necessary licenses. This formed part of the broader allegations for which the company faced hefty fines. Violating sanctions laws. Binance was also charged with breaking sanctions laws, which was included in the court filings that were unsealed. These violations are part of the reasons behind the substantial fines imposed on the company. Number 4, violating the Bank Secrecy Act. Zhao pleaded guilty to violating the BSA and causing a financial institution to violate the BSA. As part of the plea agreement, Zhao agreed to pay a $50 million fine. So that's $50 million, I guess, out of his own pocket there. And let me pause here real quick. And again, this has not started yet. So we're still going to wait to see if this starts. We'll just keep talking until then. So $50 million fine. This is apart from the $4.4 billion that I guess is levied against Binance. This is going to be $50 million out of his own pocket. And I think that $4.4 billion was pushed by the CFTC, potentially. I think that's what I'm reading here. So he's actually able to take $50 million out of that $4.4 billion. How kind of them. Appointment of an independent compliance monitor. Under the terms of its plea, Binance is required to appoint an independent compliance monitor for 3 years. The company must also report its compliance efforts to the U.S. government. Furthermore, Zhao is prohibited from any present or future involvement in operating or managing Binance, though this ban is set to end 3 years after the monitor is reported. So the question is he going to come back up in here? He's going to, he's going to take charge, lead the way, take one for the crypto team. I know there's a lot of bad blood with Mexicans and Pulsicans with regards to Binance because they run CoinMarketCap and they've buried us this entire time. In fact, are we still buried? I'd imagine we are. Buried, was it 201? 201 if I remember correctly. So let's check. Let's just check. Is there a ranking on here? Are they going to rank us? I don't see a ranking. Well, at least they're showing Hex. So I don't actually see the ranking here. Let us check, though. Let us check ranking. We'll go down to what? 201? 201. See if we're still buried down there. If you guys just joined, we're waiting to go live. The DOJ is going to kind of talk to us. Oh, God, nice, guys. We're not buried at 201 anymore. That we're buried at 209. Okay, that's good. So 209. We've lost nine places there. It might have been 210. I don't know. But we're right there with Frax, Wrapped BNB, and Wrapped HBAR. Bitcoin Classic, Wrapped EOS. EOS. Let's check chat here. Let's see what's going on. Let me see if this is playing in the background, and I just cannot hear it. Department of Justice still not playing here. That's all good. We'll check chat. Hex Enthusiast, yo, what's up? Westside Ian. Mo digging it. What's good? Pineapple Love, let's go. Chad D, the Power 13. What's good? Crypto Ewok. Hey, R2R. What's up, Crypto Ewok? Ryan. Medwin Calvert. Dear Lord. Let's see how long I can hang out here. Hopefully it's not too long. Kesa. What is good? Immutable says live for the first time in a while. Immutable is burning that midnight oil, that lamp oil there. CZ just got wrecked. What's good? B to the Brandon, rather. I hope people aren't cheering too hard for CZ's legal troubles. At least not until the details are more thoroughly examined. This could be bad for crypto as a whole. Yes, it's a very good point. We got to figure out, like, everything that we're seeing right now is coming from reporters, I guess, for the most part. I think, are there some court documents out there? I haven't been able to find any, but I have a sneaking suspicion that that's going to change pretty soon here. So we got to be careful, guys. There's a lot going on here. Like, and here's another thing that I want to point out. So let's go ahead and let's share this and go to share browser. So let's check this out here. Yesterday, I posted on @RagsToRichesFam. Oh, cool. Wait, is that legit? Oh, sweet. Nice. Okay. I need to change that title, though. So for the first time, actually streaming onto Twitter, which is pretty cool. So yesterday, what I put was this, which is part of the court documents that were levied against Kraken. So I'll just read this. Throughout the relevant period, Kraken has made available for trading many crypto assets securities. These crypto asset securities are investment contracts represented by the underlying crypto asset. And guys, I'm going to point this out. That's the opinion of the SEC. That is not the law. That's the opinion of the SEC. And they continue to do a giant DDoS on cryptocurrency. And they're just throwing as much as they can at the courts, I guess, in order to slow the process down. And here, the other interesting thing here is, like, are they doing this to Binance before these ETFs get pushed through? Was that all part of the master plan to basically weed out all the bad stuff? I don't know. There's a lot of questions that I have going through my head right now. These crypto asset securities are investment contracts represented by the underlying crypto asset itself. In fact, Kraken currently makes available for trading crypto assets that have been the subject of prior SEC enforcement actions based upon their status as crypto asset securities, including crypto asset trading under the symbol. So, this is just me thinking off the cuff here, but, if there were previous enforcement actions and if they paid the things that they need to pay, now you're coming down on the people that are trading these things. That's interesting. I guess if you're trading quote unquote securities, then you're going to have to follow suit. See, there's so much misinformation out there about what the SEC is doing. So we'll keep going here. But these assets are trading under the symbols ADA, AXS, Algo, Atom, CHZ, Cody, Dash, Phil, which is what, Filecoin maybe, Flow, ICP, Mana, Matic, Near, OMG, Sand, and Solana, which were alleged in one of the more following actions against other registered intermediaries. So this is interesting. So I remember seeing these names get dropped when the SEC versus Bittrex popped up. And they were basically saying that these were securities in that paperwork. So now they're using precedent from the previous paperwork to again reinforce that those cryptocurrencies are actually securities. So we're seeing this giant game of chess being played out live as we speak here. The Department of Justice press conference is still not going on here. Let me just refresh to verify. Make sure they're not starting here without us. And they are not. They've moved it to 3:30. Okay, so they moved the time to 3:30, which is good. The government is always on point and prompt, aren't they? +1 in chat if government's on point and prompt. Hint, I don't expect you to be making too many +1s. Let's continue to check chat here. Steak and Bake JDB, what's good? Mindful Miracles, I'm ready, baby. Bring it on. We're bulletproof. I got Ligs by Ramstein stuck in my head. Good afternoon, everyone. It's always the sexes that have the most problems. Hexcoiner says, keep swinging. Howdy, Hexagons. Nice to have you in here. What up, Rags? You practicing your nunchucks today? Yeah, so Viber Finance send me a dude with Down syndrome just like destroying the nunchuck game. And quite frankly, I didn't think my Downs friends had the coordination to wield nunchucks. But dude, this guy was killing it. So +1 to Downs people with nunchucks. Do not share nor like. Hex is 208. We are at 209 currently. What's up? Hex Force 1. Godfather J6. Keep swinging. Guys, we got about 9 minutes until this thing kicks off. I will try to keep you degenerates entertained until then. Howdy, Hexkins. Good afternoon, everyone. Mobius, the Hexkin contractor. I came here for good news. Did I make a mistake, Rags? I don't know. Let's check it out. Let's check out and let us see. I mean, how's the market responding to all of this? So we'll go down, we'll shrink down to the daily here. And overall, guys, I would say that it's not too crazy right now. It's actually not too crazy. You know, we had an initial, we'll kind of drill down. Let's go to the hour here. They tried to sell it off, but on the daily candle, it got bought back up. There's a wick to the bottom. I would imagine that during this whole DOJ process, in this live stream, we're going to be seeing some major movements in cryptocurrency, whether to the upside or downside. You know, on the one hand, this is something that's been hanging over everybody's head for a while now. We saw the Department of Justice kind of go after Binance. We saw the SEC go after Binance. We saw the SEC go after Paxos. Which was, I think, the stablecoin provider for Binance. So then they shut down that service. So we knew that something was coming down the pike here. We knew it was coming down the pike. We just didn't know what. So this is maybe further, I guess this is clarification. There's a lot of other dominoes that could fall out there. So we have to just be very, very careful as we navigate this. And if you guys, some of you guys have asked me in my, patreon.com/$riot. Some of you guys have asked me, where are the markets going to go here? They're going to continue to go up. They can continue to, or they're going to go parabolic, this and that. I said, guys, there's a lot of stuff that's hanging out there. Not only that, the market tends to fall off. I'd say probably right around the halving or just before. But not only that, there's some fundamental news out there that's hanging out that could really, really scare investors. And if you guys haven't noticed, Bitcoin has been on a tear recently because it just seems at the right times that we get some good news that comes out. And then all the Bitcoin executives who run these news websites push Bitcoin harder and harder. Maybe they're using the rest of the world as exit liquidity. I don't know. Let's see what FTT's doing. We'll go to crypto because this is interesting, right? We'll check out, let's check and see what these guys are doing. This is FTX token, right? So FTX token has had a little pump on this news as well. So the question is, is this going to cause here's another thing. Is this going to cause a massive sell-off? We've talked about this quite a bit. I think about a year ago, maybe about 6 months ago, we verified the biggest holder of USDT by percentage is actually Binance. So it's interesting. They got to pay 4.4 billion. I don't know if that can be a payment. I think it can be a payment. But what's interesting is what happens. What happened? Maybe Binance is saying, we're holding all that tether so we can destroy the market if we need to. We'll just kind of use that to pay the SEC off. Wouldn't that be interesting? So that could be a ticking time bomb. Now, what benefit would it be for them? There's not much benefit because I believe BUSD has been shut down at this point. So, there's no competition there. But guys, what we're seeing is exactly what had been said for a long time. If you go back to my, December 29th or January 1st prediction video about 2023, I said the centralized exchanges are going to get destroyed. That's what 2023 is going to be all about, because they have to remove all of the players that aren't playing ball with the United States government. The government has to control this. Now, you might say, well, why does the government have to control this? Well, it's because they get to pick and choose who they want to do business with. And they only pick and choose the folks that are kind and generous and cooperative with them. So that's why you're going to see these big banks hop in, these JP Morgans, these BlackRocks, these relationships that have been extremely lucrative on the backs of many of the citizens of the Western countries for decades and decades and decades and decades. These are going to be the people that assume these positions of power, and they want to take over this new economy. So one of the main reasons, I'll tie this back to Pulse Chain, and let me check, make sure they're not live yet. They're not. We got about 3 minutes till they're live. So one of the main reasons that I like Pulse Chain so much is because we're just not part and parcel to that manipulation. And in fact, if you look at things in terms of a spectrum left to right, and maybe left is the wrong way, maybe right is the proper way. Right is leaning towards freedom and sovereignty. Left is leaning towards centralized finance and authoritarianism. I would say, especially with the IPVS stuff that popped out and Richard Hart's need and want and desire to make this as decentralized as possible so that the government can't shut these front ends down, I would say that we're going the way that crypto should have been going. Actions speak much louder than words, ladies and gentlemen. Regardless of what you think about the man, the myth, the legend, Richard Hart, actions speak much louder than words, okay? And what we're seeing is a movement and a shift towards financial freedom and sovereignty and financial self-determination. Most people don't connect those two phrases together. I miss Franklin. He's off living his best life without us. I think BlackRock is involved somehow. 100%, guys. 100%. They're all intertwined. The way that this works, they have to be intertwined. Okay? You can't have this system of economics without everybody working together at the top. It's not a free market. It has to be manipulated. It has to be changed. And it has to have the big boys working together at the top. That's where all that financial energy gets focused. It gets shifted away from the middle class. Let's check here. Yeah, still not there. Be fearful when everyone's greedy. Be greedy when everyone's fearful. Absolutely. If you just joined, guys, we're about to go live at this press conference if it pops up. Moon Mutt, good afternoon, Rags. Certainty is always bullish, doesn't matter what. I sold my kidney today to some Asian guy for 100 BNB tokens. I'm not sure if that was a good deal, Vibra. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say that was dumb. Shoot, dude. It should have been like 5 pounds of General Tso's chicken. That's the point I'm making. What is BNB's price down to with all of this? Well, let's check. We'll do that. Let's check BNB here. And we could also check TVL on DeFi Llama. So it's interesting here. We'll share this here real quick. It's not really as bad as I thought it would be. Okay. There still is some buying here, and there was a massive volume. And in fact, the biggest volume that we've seen going all the way back to May of 2021. So it looks like this is being defended, right? When you see massive volume here and it's a red candle, that means that there's a massive amount of selling going on, but there's not a massive drop off. So I'm wondering if they knew that this was coming and who's defending this right now. Very interesting to watch. So we checked FTT. Let's check Bitcoin again. Bitcoin is actually looking pretty strong, believe it or not. Bitcoin's looking strong here. And they should be live right now, folks, but it's 3:31 and they're late once again. Hopefully they'll pop up here any second now. But we'll go back here. Let's check. Yeah, so Bitcoin's looking strong. Obviously, most of Ethereum's liquidity is probably tied up primarily in Bitcoin. So that's moving together as per Hart's law. We're seeing that very well. It's total crypto market cap. And what this tells me is total crypto market cap isn't looking as strong right now. We've had a massive breakout. The question is, are we going to come back down and retest? That's a possibility. We could come back down and retest. And if we take that and we bounce with it, we go to higher highs across all of crypto. Now, total crypto market cap is excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. What this could be telling me right now, and we do have increasing volume here, this is telling me that people are probably off risking and then off ramping. I think 70% of DeFi volume is made up in stable coins. People on ramping and off ramping, and then de-risking every single night when they go to bed, so they can come up and be degenerates in the morning time. So interesting to see that. Let's check the price of gold here. Gold continues to spike higher. The real question of the day is, are we going to hit 2,000 an ounce again? We are about $1 from that. Rags did say back in 2023 at the very, very beginning, which was right around here, that gold would hit $2,000 an ounce. And some of you guys busted my chops for that. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's going to go much higher. Extremely. Well, extremely, that might be too strong of a word here. Viber Finance CEO says, I was coming out of anesthesia, so I was groggy. I think he had a sword. He had throwing stars and a sword. BNB is actually holding up pretty well. I'm driving, and maybe I'm not looking at the rate chart, but a quick glance, not too bad, all things considered. How crazy FTX Sol have run in light of SBF? Yes, SBF through BNB. Guys, remember this. There's a lot of folks out there that don't realize that there's a lot of VC money tied up into this. There's a lot of people that they've got tremendous amounts of consideration, enough that they would want to see the price go up. So what do you think's going to happen? I mean, these people will buy up. They will buy up because they've got to show strength in order to get their money back. Okay? If they're slated to lose millions or billions of dollars, are they going to spend a little bit of that potential profit, that unrealized gain, or they realize it and then they put it back in? Or they're just going to shore up price? Yeah, they want to do that. They want to do that so they don't lose their butts. Very interesting. FTT continues to pump, up 17% on the day here. Oh gosh. I mean, is this going to be one of those things where FTT just goes back to the stars? I don't know. I bet some of you guys bought down here at $1. What do you think's a better price? FTT at $3 or incentive token at about 75 cents? You guys tell me there. Let me know what you think. Oh man, government's wrecked. Not on time. Not on time. Yeah, we'll keep going here. It's all good. Guys, if you just joined, we're going to do this thing live with the government, DOJ, talking about what's happened today. I've got a sneaking suspicion that we're going to get a lot more information than just about Binance. I'm gonna check and see how this works here. Prompt only on taxation. Yep. Hornet UK1. What does adrenochrome do? I don't know. Let's ask ChatGPT. You guys want to ask ChatGPT? All right. What does adrenochrome do? What do you guys think it's going to say? Is it even going to give me a legit answer? Okay. It says searching effects of adrenochrome on Bing. That's funny. Bill Gates, Microsoft, adrenochrome, Bing. Let's see what happens here. Okay.
Okay, good afternoon.
Oh, there they go.
I'm joined today by Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, and CFTC Chairman Russ Benham. We are here today to announce that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance, and from its founder and CEO, Changpeng Zhao, also known as CZ. Separate from the criminal enforcement actions, the Justice Department is announcing today Secretary Yellen and Chairman Benham will also announce civil regulatory enforcement actions, and the Treasury Department and the CFTC are taking against Binance. While criminal and civil enforcement actions are subject to different legal standards, this collective effort represents the whole of government approach that we are taking to combat corporate crime. Binance has agreed to plead guilty to willfully violating the Bank Secrecy Act, knowingly failing to register as a money transmitting business, and willfully violating the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. These laws ensure that our financial institutions are not available to designated terrorist organizations, drug traffickers, and sanctioned nation states that threaten public safety and our national security.
I think the Federal Reserve is a terrorist organization.
The Justice Department is requiring Binance to pay $4.3 billion in penalties and forfeitures. This is one of the largest penalties we have ever obtained from a corporate defendant in a criminal matter. The Justice Department is also imposing a monitorship as well as reporting requirements on Binance as part of today's resolution. Moving forward, Binance must file the suspicious activity reports that were required by law. The company is required to review past transactions and report suspicious activity to federal authorities. This will advance our criminal investigations into malicious cyber activity and terrorism fundraising,
and regular
including
people.
the use of cryptocurrency exchanges to support groups such as Hamas. While this historic plea is an important measure of accountability, we know that corporations only act through the individuals who run them. That is why we have also filed a felony charge against and secured a guilty plea from Changpeng Zhao for willfully violating the Bank Secrecy Act. As CEO of Binance, Zhao willfully violated federal law that requires financial institutions to guard against money laundering and terrorist financing. Zhao, who resides outside of the United States, entered his plea in person in the United States District Court for the Western District of Washington earlier today. In August 2017, Zhao founded Binance as a platform where users could trade in cryptocurrency. But from the very beginning, Zhao and other Binance executives engaged in a deliberate and calculated effort to profit from the U.S. market without implementing the controls that are required by U.S. law. Zhao and Binance attracted and built a substantial U.S. customer base. Almost 2 years after Binance's founding, Zhao told senior management that the U.S. market represented 20 to 30% of the company's potential revenue. Serving these U.S. customers meant that Binance was a U.S. financial institution. U.S. financial institutions must comply with U.S. law. Zhao and other senior management at Binance understood this. They understood that the company was required by U.S. law to register with the Treasury Department as a money services business. And they understood that they were required by U.S. law to implement an effective anti-money laundering program. They failed to do either. Instead, they concluded that complying with U.S. law would stifle their efforts to grow Binance's profits, market share, and trading volume. So, rather than comply, Binance facilitated billions of dollars of unregulated cryptocurrency transactions. It willfully enabled hundreds of millions of dollars in transactions between American users and users subject to U.S. sanctions. And its platform accommodated criminals across the world who use Binance to move their stolen funds and other criminal proceeds. Binance prioritized its profits over the safety of the American people. In part because of the crimes it committed, Binance became the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. Now, Binance is paying one of the largest corporate penalties in U.S. history. Binance employees knew and discussed that the company was serving thousands of users in sanctioned countries. And they knew that facilitating transactions between U.S. users and users in sanctioned countries would be in violation of U.S. law. But they did it anyway. Binance enabled nearly $900 million in transactions between U.S. and Iranian users. And it facilitated millions of dollars in transactions between U.S. users and users in Syria and in the Russian-occupied Ukrainian regions of Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk. Binance's own compliance personnel also knew that the company's anti-money laundering procedures were inadequate and would attract criminals to the platform. In a February 2019 chat, one compliance employee wrote that they needed a banner that said, quote, "Is washing drug money too hard these days? Come to Binance. We got cake for you." By failing to comply with U.S. law, Binance made it easy for criminals to move their stolen funds and illicit proceeds on its exchanges. For example, between August 2017 and April 2022, there were direct transfers of approximately $106 million in Bitcoin to Binance.com wallets from Hydra. Hydra was a popular Russian darknet marketplace, frequently utilized by criminals, that facilitated the sale of illegal goods and services. Binance only stopped processing Hydra transactions in April of 2022, when the Justice Department and our criminal law enforcement partners seized control of the Hydra marketplace and shut it down. From February 2018 to May 2019, Binance processed more than $275 million in deposits and $273 million in withdrawals from Best Mixer. Best Mixer was one of the largest cryptocurrency anonymizing services in the world before it was shut down for money laundering. Binance also did more than just fail to comply with federal law. It pretended to comply. In June 2019, Binance publicly announced that it would block U.S. users from Binance.com and launch a separate U.S. exchange. That exchange, Binance.us, would register with the Treasury Department and serve the U.S. market. Binance blocked some U.S. users on Binance.com and redirected them to the U.S. exchange. At the same time, however, Binance continued to allow some of its most important high-volume U.S. users to remain on the unregistered Binance.com exchange. At the direction of Zhao and other senior leaders at Binance, employees encouraged their high-volume U.S. users to conceal their U.S. connections, including by creating new accounts that obscured their locations. As Zhao himself said in a September 2019 chat, quote, "If we blocked U.S. users from day one, Binance will not be as big as we are today. We would also not have had any U.S. revenue we had for the last 2 years." He then added, quote, "Better to ask for forgiveness than permission," close quote. Over a year after Binance publicly announced that it was blocking U.S. users, an internal monthly company report attributed 16% of its total registered user base to the United States. That was more than any other country on the unregulated Binance.com platform. In the next monthly report, Binance removed the United States label and recategorized U.S. users with the label UNKWN, short for unknown. In October 2020, users labeled as UNKWN represented approximately 17% of Binance's registered user base. Binance and Zhao profited significantly from their violations of federal law. That they are facing accountability for their crimes is due to the extraordinary hard work of the extraordinary public servants at the Department of Justice. I want to thank the Criminal Division's Money Laundering and Asset Recovery Section, the National Security Division's Counterintelligence and Export Control Section, and the United States Attorney's Office for the Western District of Washington for their excellent work. I also want to thank Secretary Yellen and her team at the Treasury Department, including IRS Criminal Investigation, as well as CFTC Chairman Benham and his team for their extraordinary partnership in this matter. In just the past month, the Justice Department has successfully prosecuted the CEOs of 2 of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges in 2 separate criminal cases. The message here should be clear. Using new technology to break the law does not make you a disruptor. It makes you a criminal. This Justice Department has no tolerance for crimes that threaten our economic institutions and undermine public trust in the fairness of those institutions, and we will hold accountable the individuals who commit and profit from them. I'm now pleased to turn the podium over to Secretary Yellen.
Good afternoon. I'm very glad to join Attorney General Garland, Deputy Attorney General Monaco, and CFTC Chairman Benham on such an important occasion. We're here today to announce the Treasury Department's historic action, the largest enforcement action in Treasury's history against Binance, the world's largest virtual currency exchange, for its consistent and egregious violations of U.S. anti-money laundering and sanctions law. Protecting the U.S. financial system, and through that, the global financial system, is core to the Treasury Department's mission. And ever since Binance launched its convertible
She can't even say it right,
currency
Binance.
platform, it has knowingly evaded the U.S. laws designed to protect these systems.
Nobody cares.
Over more than 3 years, FinCEN, OFAC, and IRS criminal investigation thoroughly investigated key aspects of Binance's activities. Our work revealed that Binance claimed to have exited the U.S. market years ago, but actually did not, retaining U.S. users and other significant ties with the United States. It also had critical gaps in its anti-money laundering program and practices, from a lack of risk-based procedures for various offerings to instructing staff to withhold information from law enforcement. It deliberately undermined its own sanctions monitoring controls, and it failed to report suspicious transactions. This meant Binance was allowing illicit actors to transact freely, supporting activities from child sexual abuse
Oh my
to
God.
illegal narcotics
Shut
to
up.
terrorism across more than 100,000
Oh
transactions.
my God. How many
That
transactions in
include
US dollars does
transactions
that take every year? How many?
With terrorist groups like Hamas's Al-Qassam brigades, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS. Binance processed these transactions, but it never filed a single suspicious activity report, and it also allowed over 1.5 million virtual currency trades that violated U.S. sanctions. So we have taken the largest enforcement action in Treasury's history. FinCEN's settlement agreement assesses a penalty of $3.4 billion. OFAC's settlement agreement assesses a penalty of nearly $1 billion. Binance is also required to report the suspicious transactions it has failed to report to date, and to establish an effective anti-money laundering program to support the global AML-CFT regime.
To get you more tax money.
The settlement agreements
That's what that means.
subject Binance to increased scrutiny for 5 years through a third-party monitor overseen by FinCEN, who will ensure Binance's complete exit from the United States. The monitor will be able to access Binance's systems, transactions, and accounts, and will review and report on all actions included in the settlement agreements. Failure to live up to these obligations could expose Binance to substantial additional penalties. The result of these agreements will be an end to company behavior that has posed risks to the U.S. financial system, U.S. citizens,
Your fragile little
and our
financial
country's
system.
national security
Frickin'
for
idiots.
too long.
Dumbasses.
And let me be clear, we're also sending a message to the virtual currency industry more broadly, today and for the future. If virtual currency exchanges and financial technology firms wish to realize the tremendous benefits of being part of the U.S. financial system and serving U.S. customers, they must play by the rules. And if they do not, the U.S. government will take action.
And everybody leaves you.
Today's announcement shows the Treasury is prepared to use all of its tools to carry out its crucial mandate of combating illicit finance and protecting the U.S. financial system, and this will make all of us safer.
Maybe you could
I want to end
protect
by
us from the
thanking
downturns every
FinCEN,
10 years.
OFAC, and IRS criminal investigation employees who play a central role in protecting our national security. Adequate resourcing was critical to carrying out this work. Thank you also to the partner agencies here today for such effective collaboration.
Where's Gary
And with
Gensler?
that, I'll turn the floor over to Deputy Attorney General Monaco.
Thank you, Madam Secretary, and good afternoon. Today is a watershed moment. The Department of Justice and its partners are holding accountable the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange and the CEO who ran it for their criminal conduct. Binance vaulted to the top of the crypto market in part through the scheme exposed today by pursuing growth, market share, and profits at the expense of compliance with U.S. law.
Look at us.
Today's charges and guilty pleas, combined with a more than $4 billion financial penalty, demonstrate the Justice Department's commitment to corporate accountability. And they sent an unmistakable message to crypto and DeFi companies: if you serve U.S. customers, you must obey U.S. law. A corporate strategy that puts profits over compliance isn't a path to riches, it's a path to federal prosecution. As detailed in the statement of facts, Changpeng Zhao was warned by his own compliance team that Binance lacked basic safeguards to prevent users from evading U.S. sanctions. He was warned of the high risk associated with some customers on their exchange. He was even warned that the CFO of another company had been arrested for sanctions violations and that the same thing could happen at Binance. But rather than implement the basic anti-money laundering safeguards that his team recommended, safeguards required by U.S. law, Binance and its founder operated as though the rules didn't apply, as though they were beyond our reach. Crypto assets may be advertised as borderless in nature, but the Department of Justice will enforce U.S. law across and throughout crypto markets, even in their darkest corners. Some say the key to success in the tech sector is to move fast and break things. Today's actions show that if what you break is the law, there will be consequences.
Smack the shit out of you.
Over 5 years, while building its business with U.S. customers, Binance enabled nearly $1 billion in illegal payments involving sanctioned countries and individuals. These actions put our collective security at risk. Today, companies are increasingly operating on the front lines of the geopolitical and national security challenges that mark today's global environment. That's why the Justice Department is focused on the intersection of corporate crime and national security. Today, corporate crime undermines not only our markets and investors, but also our national security. The laws we are enforcing today were designed to protect the security of our financial markets and to protect our financial institutions from exploitation by terrorists and money launderers. Today's actions show that those rules apply equally to traditional financial institutions and those powered by decentralized and cutting-edge technologies. Today's resolutions are the result of and a credit to the combined energy and expertise of prosecutors and law enforcement agents from across the government. And in particular, I'd like to thank Nicole Argentieri, the Acting Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division, who's here today, Matt Olson, the Assistant Attorney General for National Security, who's also here on stage, and Tessa Gorman, U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Washington. They each lead teams who have worked tirelessly on this case. The partnership between the Criminal Division's money laundering and asset recovery experts and the National Security Division's export control and counterintelligence experts is a response to the growing convergence of white-collar and national security investigations. So we're combining our deep expertise from across the department to combat these new and evolving threats. Together with our partners, the Justice Department will hold accountable those who occupy the C-suite and the boardroom if they exploit technologies in violation of our laws. With that, I'll turn it over to Chairman Benham.
Chairman Benham looks like he's an orc off of friggin' Lord of the Rings.
General Garland, Treasury Secretary Yellen, Deputy Attorney General Monaco, and all of our law enforcement counterparts. Today, the CFTC stands with the Department of Justice and the Treasury Department in protecting U.S. investors and financial markets from those who sought to create an empire through a calculated strategy of regulatory avoidance and arbitrage, outright defiance of the law, and breaching the fundamental principles of market behavior. Today, the CFTC agreed to resolve charges against Binance, its founder and CEO, Changpeng Zhao, and its former Chief Compliance Officer, Samuel Lim. Binance is the world's largest digital asset exchange and offers trading in spot digital assets and digital asset derivatives, including CFTC jurisdictional products such as Bitcoin futures, options, and swaps. The proposed orders impose a civil monetary penalty and disgorgement totaling $2.7 billion against Binance, $150 million civil monetary penalty against Zhao, and a $1.5 million penalty against Lim. Binance's activities undermine the foundation of safe and sound financial markets by intentionally avoiding basic, fundamental obligations that apply to exchanges, all the while collecting approximately $1.35 billion in trading fees from U.S. customers. Beyond the risks imposed on the U.S. financial system, Binance's activities impacted populations beyond investors in ways that cannot be measured in dollars and cents. As evidenced by the internal chats of Binance's CCO and others, Binance recognized that its platform was used to facilitate criminal activity, including terrorist financing, but chose to turn a blind eye, all in the name of profits. More disturbing, Binance and its leaders sought to dupe and indoctrinate their employees and customers, building a cult-like following premised on circumventing their own compliance controls to maximize corporate profits above all else. As charged in the CFTC complaint filed in March of this year and set forth in the consent order, Binance made deliberate, strategic, and calculated decisions to evade federal law over a period of nearly 4 years. Binance, under Zhao's direction and control, knowingly solicited and accepted orders from U.S.-based customers to trade digital asset commodity derivatives products and operated an exchange for the trading of futures, options, swaps, and leveraged retail commodity transactions. Throughout this time period, Binance never registered with the CFTC as is required under U.S. law. The resolution of the action against Binance and Zhao within just 8 months of its filing solidifies the CFTC's reputation as the proven leader in the civil enforcement space when it comes to digital assets. We are stalwart in ensuring CFTC registrants comply with our statute and regulations, which serve to protect broader financial health and that directly impacts millions of American investors. Binance failed to diligently supervise its derivatives markets activities and miscarried requirements to implement adequate anti-money laundering, know your customer, and customer identification programs required for certain CFTC registrants. These provisions serve to protect all Americans from those who seek to use the financial markets to facilitate criminal activities, including domestic and international terrorism. As there remain certain classes of registrants who have lesser requirements, I believe our action here underscores what we could accomplish in CFTC markets with broader authority. American investors, small and large, have demonstrated eagerness to incorporate digital asset products into their portfolios. It is our duty to ensure that when they do so, the full protections afforded by our regulatory oversight are in place, and that illegal and illicit conduct is swiftly addressed. When, as here, an entity goes even further, deliberately avoiding to employ meaningful access controls, intentionally avoiding knowing customers' identities, and actively concealing the presence of U.S. customers on its platforms, there is no question that the CFTC will strike hard and aggressively. I want to commend the incredible work of Candy Hahn, Joseph Plott, Catherine Paulson, Joseph Patrick, Matthew Edelstein, Elizabeth Pendleton, Scott Williamson, and Robert Howell. I'd also like to acknowledge our Director of Enforcement, Ian McGinley, and Principal Deputy Director and Chief Counsel, Gretchen Lowe. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a question. Evan from CNN.
One on-topic and one off-topic question, if you will indulge.
That depends on the question.
On the on-topic, based on the allegations of this and some of the other cases that you brought, I'm wondering whether the concern in the industry about the ability of some of these startup companies, some of the smaller companies, to abide by this very costly regulatory and legal regimen that the United States requires, whether it will mean that you can't really do virtual currency and have this industry thrive and some of the cutting edge things that Lisa Monaco just mentioned with that very heavy burden of regulatory compliance. I'm wondering whether you have a message for the industry when it comes to that. And then if I can ask my off-topic question, we're expecting at any moment the Israeli government and some of the other parties to announce an agreement for the release of hostages being held by Hamas. If you can comment on that, and also just what the Justice Department and some of the other agencies that are represented here are doing to respond to the attacks in Israel on October 7th. We know, obviously, that Hamas has had a presence here in the United States, and the concern about how they raise money, including, of course, by cryptocurrency, is something that is on everyone's mind. I'm wondering what you're doing about that in light of what happened.
All right, let me start with the off-topic. I was in a meeting this morning with national security officials, law enforcement officials, and the president regarding fentanyl, and he told the press that his team has been actively negotiating over possibility of bringing home some of the hostages. They thought that we were very close to being able to do that, but that he couldn't say anything more at that time, and I also can't say anything more at this time. With respect to the deaths of Americans, we always investigate deaths of Americans, and we are actively investigating the deaths of the Americans using all the tools available to us. We have, I think, as the FBI director said at a recent all-threats hearing before the judiciary, and as I've said, we are investigating Hamas connections in the United States particularly with respect to financial support, and that includes cryptocurrency. But we are also concerned about the possibility of more kinetic problems that they could cause, and we're investigating that. Now, I've talked a lot, so on the on-topic question, I will say you follow the law. You don't get a special benefit because you think that what you're doing is better for society, or better for small business, or better for big business, or better for international. The United States has laws, and everybody, including cryptocurrency platforms, have to follow the law.
All right. Chris Bloomer.
There's been a lot of concern about how unregulated the cryptocurrency markets are. You were able to get these guilty pleas. It took a long time. I'm just wondering, how do you feel like realistically the significance of these guilty pleas are? What do you believe it could? What kind of impact could it actually have on the cryptocurrency markets? And then just a quick follow up is, there is criticism that this is not this isn't significant enough. That there might be a situation in which nobody goes to jail, and the penalty itself, Binance is able to pay that penalty. How do you respond to that criticism?
I think I'm going to call on Nicole Argentieri, who's the Acting Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division, to answer most of the questions you're talking about. The broader ones that have to do with regulation, it's possible Secretary Yellen or the CFTC chair would address. Where'd you go? Oh, over here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So I'll take the second question first. I think looking at the pleas today, by every possible measure, these are some of the most significant penalties that the department has ever imposed on a financial institution. Not only is it one of the largest penalties imposed against a financial institution, this is the largest penalty that's ever been imposed on a money services business. It's the first corporate resolution with a cryptocurrency exchange, and it's the first resolution with an MSB for sanctions violations. And the financial penalty is it's not the only significant part of the resolution. Binance, which is the parent holding company, is agreeing to plead guilty. And as part of that, we're going to impose a monitor for 3 years. The company has to enhance its compliance program and to continue to cooperate with the department. So we think it's quite a significant resolution. In addition, the agreement with the company requires Zhao to step down from his role as CEO and prohibits him from any present or future involvement in operating or managing Binance. So we think this is a very significant resolution. In what tools do we have and what should people take away from today? I think that today's actions show that if you serve US customers, you must comply with US law. US financial institutions are the gatekeepers for the safety and security of our financial system. And because Binance served a substantial amount of US customers, it was a US financial institution that was required to comply with anti-money laundering laws. And what those laws say is that Binance had to have an effective anti-money laundering compliance program, including procedures to know its customers and to monitor for suspicious activity. And what happened instead is Binance and Zhao prioritized profit over compliance. And that failure to implement effective AML procedures led Binance to cause US customers to transact with customers in Iran that violated US sanctions.
If Treasury or CFTC want to, the podium is yours.
Well, just very briefly, I agree with the comments that were just made. We actually have rather strong legal authorities to police this type of activity. Virtual currency exchanges are financial institutions. Financial institutions of all sizes are required to comply with AML, CFT, and sanctions obligations that they have. And cryptocurrency or virtual currency exchanges have those obligations as well. And I think today's actions show that we're very serious about enforcing the strong regulations that are already in place to make sure that illegal transactions are not fostered by cryptocurrency entities. This is a regime, just as banks can flourish, meeting these obligations. This is a regime that can support responsible innovation. It's not meant to end cryptocurrency activities, but to the extent they occur, it must be consistent with U.S. law.
I'll just say from a market's perspective in distinguishing Secretary Yellen's comments about AML and KYC, I've seen and we've seen gaps in the current regulatory structure around digital assets. I've advocated for filling in some of these gaps, specifically around commodity tokens. And I do think if we're able to do that, obviously with Congress's help, we can prevent these actions from happening and not have to be here after the fact. Some of the traditional tools of registration, surveillance, examinations, they've worked well for decades in the US financial system for both market regulators. And we think those types of tools around digital assets, if improved and expanded, would certainly help in preventing some of these bad actions from happening again in the future.
Hear me. We got to cut it out here. Sorry. It's probably a really, really bad idea for me to be talking right now. It's probably a really bad idea. Okay? I've got a lot of things to say. I want to collectively line all those people up and just smack them all at the same time. The further along that I go in life, the more frustrated that I get at the massive amounts of hypocrisy that come out of these people's lips. I don't trust them. I don't like them. This is not for the people, by the people. Political power does not reside in the people anymore. And it's just incredibly frustrating to listen to. I wouldn't put up with this type of behavior from anybody in my personal life. Why would I put up with this type of behavior from the people that are supposed to be representing me? Now, here's the other thing. Everybody here is an unelected bureaucrat. Every single person here is an unelected bureaucrat representing this broken ass system that we have here. The DOJ and the Department of Treasury, their stance on cryptocurrency is out of control. It seems pretty contradictory to me, ladies and gentlemen, that they're going to juxtapose what's happening with cryptocurrency and not to their own monetary policies right now. I think that there is a massive disparity between the way that they treat cryptocurrency and the words that are coming out of their mouth right now with regards to the degradation of the US dollar, with regards to the Treasury Department, with regards to every single downfall that we've had from an economic standpoint over the past 80 years has been caused by the very people that are standing here in front of you preaching and telling you what you can and what you can't do with your damn money. I'm tired of it. It's disgusting. And they think they can get away with it because there's such a huge swath of people out there that don't understand the actual crimes that are being perpetrated against them. They think that they can get away with it. That time is fleeting. We have the ability to talk about these things and educate people and let them know what's happening to them. These people that are standing here, they are no better than you or me. They are no better than you or I. We probably know more about cryptocurrency than Janet Yellen's dumbass who's saying Binance. The hell are you talking about over here? The relentless printing of money. The expansion of the money supply. Like a 13,000% expansion of the into money supply since the 60s. You want to talk about the stability of the dollar? You want to talk about these outside entities and these external forces potentially disrupting your fragile economic system? Who built that economic system? You guys built the economic system. That you don't have the ability to think out of this broke ass system that you guys have continued to perpetrate. It's counterproductive. Everything that you're talking about. You want to talk about the misuse of cryptocurrency while ignoring all the other inherent issues and all the massive abuse of dollar-based transactions across the world? Are you freaking kidding me? We're probably 0.00001% of all the craziness that's happening in the world, but you want to go up there and tout that the US dollar is king and the US dollar is on the up and up? Get the hell out of here, man. Maybe instead of launching an offensive against cryptocurrency, perhaps the DOJ, perhaps FinCEN, perhaps the CFTC, perhaps the IRS, maybe they should focus on addressing the problems in their own system rather than attacking cryptocurrency and rather than attacking the people that want to provide real innovation, safety, and stability for generations moving forward. You guys have gotten too involved in our finances. Too involved. And we're all freaking tired of it. And you know what's funny? She even came up there and she admitted it. She admitted it, ladies and gentlemen. She said, regardless of the innovation, regardless of whether or not that you think that what you're doing is a better system, we still have our laws in place. We still have our laws in place, and this is not meant to destroy cryptocurrency, but you will comply with our laws, even if what you're doing is better, even if what you're doing is fixing things. Guys, I'm here to tell you, it's not about the laws. It's about it's about collecting your money. That's what this is about. It's about making sure that every dollar is traced. Every dollar is understood they know where everything goes. They have to have control over it. The further we go down this timeline, the more control that they have to have because the system gets more and more fragile. And they're scared. They're fearful of what's happening. Maybe you should focus on understanding the potential. Maybe you should talk to people who have been begging you to change the financial system for decades and decades and decades and say, how can we hearken back to an actual free market that we haven't seen in 120 years? Or the closest semblance to that. Maybe that's where your focus should be. I'm done ranting. I'm freaking pissed off, man. My heart rate's up. I want to go punch something. Guys, here's what you got to do, ladies and gentlemen. You have got to educate your neighbor. You've got to educate your family. You have to educate your friends about what's happening. They're going to take these sound bites and they're going to disseminate them all across the world. And they're going to say, cryptocurrency, North Korea, cryptocurrency, Hamas, cryptocurrency, Russia. That's what they're going to do. And when you go talk to your dumbass liberal friends out there, and quite frankly, if you're a liberal here listening, I hope you're hearing what I'm saying. But they're just going to take those sound bites and they're going to roll with it. Okay? And they're going to parrot the same old BS. Educate these people. Connect them with knowledge. Get on Amazon and send them a book about what's happening to them financially. It needs to be said. I'm going to say it. I'm going to keep getting louder about it. That's what it's all about. I'm going to keep getting louder about it. I'm going to keep causing problems for these people. It's not going to be easy. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, this is the battle of your lifetime is happening right here. Future generations depend on how we act right now. We can't be passive. We can't wait for things to affect other people before it gets to our doorstep. We have to act now. We got to talk now. We got to push back now. We got to understand now. We got to educate now, folks. That's what it's all about. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined this, here's a quick reminder.
Rags to riches. Do not like, comment, or subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from our world, my name is Rags to Riches. As always, do not like, comment, or subscribe.